and welcome to Border Report Live. I'm Daniel Marin, filling in for Rudy Mireles today. This is our show where we take a deeper dive on things that are happening at the U.S., southern Mexico, the border, with our team of experienced journalists from borderreport.com. And we're going to be joined by Salvador Rivera in just a little bit. He's going to have a guest with him, an immigration attorney. And we're going to get into the details of what exactly happens when someone is taken into custody by ICE. What happens at the detention centers? How do the hearings go? So we're going to dive into that for you today. But first, we do have an update on a story that we've been following here on Border Report Live. The woman from Norway who is in federal custody in California, Hanne Deguman, is in immigration detention facility in San Diego. She's from Norway. She was detained by ICE agents as she left an immigration hearing a week ago. Now, she is in the process of getting her citizenship in the U.S. Now, on Monday, she was formally presented her charges and then given a bond of $1,500. Now, the update from her husband, according to her husband, he is hoping that she is going to be released this afternoon from the Otay Mesa Detention Center. This is Tuesday afternoon that we're recording this. He says that there is still the possibility, though, that she could be deported to Norway. So look for that update on borderreport.com as that comes in. We also have an update on things that are happening in North Carolina. There's a lot of contention out there when it comes to immigration enforcement efforts out there. And now the fear of arrest by ICE agents is forcing the city of Durham, North Carolina, to postpone its Christmas tree lighting ceremony for 2 weeks. Now, the tree is in the middle of the city's plaza. There it is right there. But the community, many there, they say they are not ready to celebrate. And organizers say they are delaying the festivities due to the lingering impact of federal immigration enforcement operations on that community. In fact, we have a statement here from the organizers. They say, quote, "The plaza is a gathering space for all, and we support our affected communities who want to hold downtown as a space where everyone is welcome. Our priority lies in ensuring everyone involved feels safe and supported." So thousands of people there in that community there have been fearful to step outside of their homes ever since federal immigration agents arrived in the region last week. Immigration enforcement operations have moved out of the area, according to local officials, but the fear there sparked by these operations still very much in the air for people there. Another update out of Charlotte, North Carolina. Less than a third of the people arrested by Border Patrol during the Trump administration's recent ICE crackdown in Charlotte, they were classified as criminals. That is according to an internal Department of Homeland Security document that was obtained by CBS News. DHS has maintained that the enforcements that have swept across the country are meant to arrest the worst of the worst. We've heard that time and time again from the administration, and also that they're meant to arrest those who pose a threat to public safety. The document shows Border Patrol agents arrested more than 270 immigrants in Charlotte. Fewer than 90 of them were categorized as criminal aliens, though, in that document. And those statistics do not include arrests made by ICE agents and does not specify the severity of the crimes of the detainees listed as criminals, nor whether their record include convictions or solely criminal charges. All right, now that we have those updates, let's go ahead and bring in Salvador Rivera over there in California for us, our Border Report correspondent. And Sal, you have a guest with you today, an immigration attorney.
Menard. He is with Root Law, based in Encino, California, right next to Sherman Oaks on Ventura Boulevard in the Los Angeles area. And I was speaking with him recently, and he was enlightening me as to what's going on. And I want to bring him in right now to describe what he has been seeing. How crazy are things right now, William, from your point of view as an attorney who is very much involved in this immigration debate?
Yeah, well, Sal, I've never seen anything like this in terms of the scale and types of arrests. A lot of people that were arrested in San Diego were arrested because they were brief overstays and on visas. So they were U.S. citizens. And were detained not for criminal reasons, not for any type of public safety concern, just because they were brief overstays on their visas. And I just want to be clear, the U.S. federal statute explicitly permits people who are relatives of U.S. citizens to apply even if their visa overstays. So the law allows this type of application. And all of these people that were there were just trying to do things the right way. They had, they had been fingerprinted to get visas to come into the country. They had been fingerprinted when they applied for the application. They were fingerprinted at the time that they came into the building. They appeared for their appointments. So they're trying to do everything the right way. If they were public safety concerns, that presumably they would have been stopped or denied or picked up at an earlier point, but they weren't. I've been doing immigration law for over 12 years. I've never seen this. I've never seen people being arrested as just visa overstays when they were spouses or children or parents of U.S. citizens.
How busy are you, William? And we are hearing about how people are being blindsided. They show up for an appointment. Next thing you know, the ICE agents show up. It's like they're lurking in the hallways and the corridors, and they pound some people. Next thing you know, they're being detained and being sent to detention facilities. Tell us what you're seeing, what your clients are telling you about what happened in their situations.
Well, Sal, I was at the interview, so I saw exactly what happened. They conducted the interview. They asked my client and her spouse a series of questions about their relationship, and actually, I found out the next day that the case, like the petition to establish that they were a bona fide marriage, was approved, so there was no issue with that. But the interview dragged on for a very long time. During the course of the interview, I could actually see from the window of the room that someone else was being arrested. And then, certainly, the concerns started to go up from there. And then at the very end of the interview, 3 officers came into the room and said that my client was going to be arrested.
What happens upon that apprehension when they are detained? What happens to the people? Are they immediately handcuffed? Or kind of take us through what happens to those folks after they are detained?
Whether they are handcuffed, sometimes not immediately. My client was walked out, but I think she was eventually handcuffed. What happens is they're walked down to a different part of the building. Then they go through a booking process that can take several hours, sometimes, all day. And then they're eventually moved to the detention facility, whatever detention facility that they're going to. And all the people, or at least from what I understand, is all the people in San Diego were moved to Otay Mesa. That's not always true. Sometimes they do move people even farther away, but I think here that was the case.
What are your rights at that point, William? If you are detained?
Yeah. So what I did is they handed me an arrest warrant that had been issued a few days earlier, and I think they were just waiting for the interview to take place, and there isn't a lot we can do at that point. They do have an arrest warrant, and there's 3 officers there that are impeding her from going anywhere else. There really isn't much that we can do at that point. Obviously I heard that this could happen. This was kind of towards the beginning of this starting. And so I advised the client, this is a possibility. And they were aware of that, but, were kind of confident in her background, not having a criminal record or anything, that nothing would happen, but it did. But then after that point, once the officers are there isn't much we can do unless they make some kind of extreme error on the warrant or something like that. But they had a warrant, it was her. There really isn't much you can do at that point.
Okay. And we're seeing images of the Otay Mesa Detention Center, which is about a mile north of the border in southeast San Diego County. What happens? How are those hearings taking place at a facility like this?
Yeah, they have a couple courtrooms that are in the detention center, and I would say most of the hearings, like I had one yesterday, are being done by video. Most of the attorneys appear by video. A few of them appear in person, but the detainees are all brought into a room at their scheduled time. And there right now there's a lot because there were so many arrests, and they have to do a bond hearing within a very short period of. Well, they have to do the both the removal hearing, the deportation hearing, and the bond hearing. They are separate. They have to do those very quickly in detained cases. So they have a lot of hearings going on at the same time. So yesterday there were, at least 20 people waiting for a hearing at one time slot. And it's like that all the time now because of how many people were arrested.
How overcrowded is a facility like Otay Mesa? And will this influence a judge per se to perhaps release people, give them bond bail, and have them wear an ankle bracelet or promise to come back? And describe what you know about that.
I don't know if Otay Mesa has hit its maximum. I'm not aware of that. But I do know that judges not only don't want the prison to be overcrowded. It's just not a good situation for anybody. But they also don't want to keep these cases on their docket too long. I mean, in all honesty, most of these cases, they're approvable, meaning that they would likely be approved if they hadn't been arrested. Like for instance, for my client, they could have approved the case on the spot. But she was arrested. So now she has to go through a much longer process where they go to court, potentially get the court case terminated, or apply for the green card through the court. But it just extends the kind of the whole thing when really the process could be quite quick. So I think the judges know that. And if they see a case that could easily be disposed of by USCIS, if they just terminate it or release the person, I would think they would want to do that.
Good conversation so far. I do have to interject. We got to take a quick break. We'll be right back with more Border Report Live. And welcome back to Border Report Live. We're having a conversation with immigration attorney William Menard this afternoon. Sal, take it away.
William, we keep hearing that a lot of people now are afraid to show up at their appointments. Is this a good idea, or could it backfire if you just don't show up?
Well, yeah, I think it's going to be kind of a bad situation for all the people involved. So if they start detaining everybody, right? If the San Diego field office continues, and it has been focused a lot on San Diego. If that office continues to detain virtually every overstay, then people are just going to stop showing up. I mean, they're not going to take that risk. Even though they are allowed under the law to make that application, they're still not going to go. And what's going to happen is, they're going to try to postpone the interview and then maybe wait for this to die down. I don't know exactly what they're going to